Welcome back, everyone. We are back for the round of 16 review for the ESOC Spring Championships. This has been quite an interesting round. We've had a lot of 4-0s, some 4-1s. We've had a couple close games as well, but let's save that for later and get straight into it. So, first game we have Kinesi versus King of Osmane. Look, I think consensus around Discord and talking to various people was that Kinesi was going to take this one, but King of Osmane really took this series by the balls, so to say, and came out on top. He came out on top in a French mirror. There's a pretty big mistake by Kinesi going straight skirm into Kerr skirm, which ultimately cost him the match. The following match was Spain versus Ottoman, and King of Osmane took the water there nice and early and made a nice surround around Kinesi's base and really closed him in and left him no option but to hit that resign button. So, game three, we had Aztec versus India, with Kinesi taking one back, which looked like it was going to bring the series back into a closer affair. But King of Osmane did decide to run away with this one, beating his being Kinesi, his China with Ottoman, and Kinesi's Port with German. Here's what they had to say in the post-match interview.
The man of the hour here, Mr. King of Osmane. Dude, how are you feeling after this series?
Feeling good, man. Thanks.
Yeah, you looked dominant from the start, man. Yeah, that France game, France mirror. Did you prepare for it? Were you sure that you wanted to play France in the first map?
Yeah, because I actually expected Japan first game. I was kind of like on panic mode when I saw his French. So I actually thought he's gonna do some native stuff. I didn't expect standard play, but yeah, luckily he did standard play and it turned out good.
How did you feel when you were scouting Kinesi's base at the beginning of that game with your wood rickshaw and there was no sign of any military building?
Yeah, I thought like maybe he's actually FFing or something. I thought like I'm just gonna do 5 Hus and then raid a bit and then H up. But yeah, he got 4 Hus out, so it's kind of hard from that point on because I can always pressure him and I have free map. And yeah, luckily I got a CDB.
Yeah, that was a great start in that first game. The second game, it felt like you wanted to go for a big musketeer falconet push, but then you switched it up to skirm goon. Yeah, what was your reasoning behind that? Is it just because you love skirm goon?
I was like scared of Spahi because like rods do very bad against Spahi. So if he's like doing Gen Spahi, I might be in big trouble. So I thought like maybe with goons I have an easier time and hopefully like out micro him.
Yeah, and then came the winged hussar, but it seemed like you were prepared, man, with your goon mass. It kind of felt like Kinesi wanted to do a little bit of everything that game. It really didn't feel like he was. Yeah, he didn't really have a straight game plan here. But and also, yeah, your decision to go skirm goon there really caught him off guard, I suppose. Um, and then, yeah, of course, in the Aztec game, man, he was a big boy Aztec, right?
Yeah, like I knew Etsy's probably gonna be a free game for him. Like that's the matchup I actually prepared. Like I played like 5-6 games against Aztec, like India against Aztec, and that's the game I lost. But yeah, I don't know. I felt like I needed my hoots to block the coyotes. But yeah, I didn't scout his composition that good, and I thought like with heavies, not with heavies, with siege allies, I might have a chance. But I think he was quite ahead. I felt like, but I'm not sure. I have to watch the recording.
Yeah, it felt like it was really
Probably
close, right?
closer than you think. Yeah. Like you did a lot of damage both taking villages and Kinesi had idle TC for quite a long time while like during that H2 period where you were on the aggressive.
Yeah, thought like I killed enough wills, but somehow he got like his warhead mid-map. I was scouting it when I was already aging, and I was like, man, how did he get up the warhead there? And then he dropped his noble huts as well. And
Yeah, he really did a huge loop around with his villager to get to that middle area. Like in perfect hindsight, it was like, okay, you could also put your Agra fort there, but yeah, I understand it, because if he comes with those Jaguars early, then it's also
Exactly.
like, fuck.
Okay, yeah. Because I think if I scout it, if I force him to like drop his huts in base, I'm in a very good position.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for
that
sure.
changed a lot. Yeah.
And then, yeah, basically the final game of the matchup, Otto versus China. Were you also surprised he started with a trade post there?
No, like I knew what he's gonna do, just like FF, and hope like with his boat he gets enough damage done. So yeah, I kind of knew what's coming. I was a bit surprised he's picking China. I was expecting ports on New England, and not like on the last map. But yeah.
And what were your feelings about the last game?
Yeah, I don't know. I was like, I scouted like I had 130 XP also next to me, but I didn't use the crack shot. I didn't have the crack shot because I used it on the 50 wood. So I was like, okay, I can't micro on the trash. Let's just run mid. And then luckily I run exactly to him. And yeah, steal the treasure and kill Explore. It was super lucky. So if the 50
It felt
wood,
like your map hacks were on, man.
yeah, yeah. So like if the 50 wood doesn't spawn in my base, there's no way I get there. So yeah.
We have
Yeah,
never
everyone,
had an analysis longer than an actual game. That must be a new ESOC record.
Yeah,
for
like
everyone watching who doesn't think like Age 1 micro and Explorer micro is important to practice, there's your example. One day it can win you the match against Kinesi.
Can carry you into the quarterfinals of ESOC Spring Championship, and you're the only non-round of 16 that is going to the round of 8. So congratulations, King of Osmane. You had a dominant series against Loppy. Now you're having a dominant series against Kinesi. Can we expect to see you in the final?
gonna be tough. Now I have the number 1 seed if I'm not mistaken.
You have to play
But
Mr.
yeah.
Hazza.
Yeah, now or never. Now or never. Like in
Hey, man.
EP times, I had like no chance, but maybe this time.
With your form today, I would not be be shy to go in the next series, man. You're looking very sharp, and congratulations to you to your victory today. I hope to see we have a good series coming up next week. But yeah, thank you for your time, man. It was a pleasure to cast you.
Thanks, guys.
Alright, now for the next series, we have Frontline versus the Only Bass. Now, this one was my favorite series of the round, with Frontline taking the series out 4-3. So, game one, Frontline beats the Only Bass's France with Ethiopia, overwhelms him there to take the win. The game two, we have an auto mirror, and this one ultimately was decided by, I'd say, Artillery Micro. Now the third one, Aztec versus Russia. This one went down to the wire with Aztec's Coyotes taking really effective trades versus the Cossack to seal the deal for him, which takes us into game four. This one was great to watch. Huge fights, back and forth, great micro sealing the deal for this one, and we'll have a little snippet at the end of the show so that you can see. Now, game five, we had the only Bass playing as England. Now, keep in mind that Frontline's up 3-1 here, and the only Bass really had to win this one. So this one was played on I can't think of it off the top of my head, Arctic territories. Not very rich for food, so each player really had to make something happen early. This game couldn't go on too long, and the final push into Lakota got the job done for the Only Bass and brought him back into the series to bring it to 3-2. Now, game 6 was a little bit how do I put this? A bit of a misplay from Frontline. He went for Bow Pike. He shipped Palatine Settlements, which is a 200 pop card for Germany. And ultimately, the tempo of Only Baus, playing more of a standard German build, was just too much to handle. Now, this brought it to 3-all and brought us to a decider. In Game 7, we had Frontline playing as Brits. We had the Only Baus as Dutch. And it was a strong H2 timing with an emphasis on Pike because the Only Baus was trying to push out Bosniak mercenaries, but the Pikes did a job on them, finished the match, and sealed the deal. Frontline through to the quarterfinals. Here's what they had to say after the match.
Hey, I think we're live again.
Well, hello.
Hello, Frontline. You made it close for us. Thank you so much for making a 7-game series so that everyone could watch. What were your thoughts going in to Game 1 and then getting all the way to Game 7? Did anything in your plans change from first game to 7th game? Anything like that?
A little bit, yeah. Game 1 was Ethiopia for sure, but I had a different strategy in mind because I thought he'd be Ottomans, not French. So instead I did standard Ethiopia and it worked out well. Florida, I was thinking of Italy, but I knew he was going to go Germany, and I just wasn't confident that I could beat that of Italy, so I went with Mirror, and that game kind of slipped away from me because I had units all over the place. I wasn't keeping track of where they were. And when I collapsed on his base, I was missing like 3 pikemen, 8 expo, so that game was a bit of a mess.
Yeah, it happens. Is there a reason you went for Bow Pike instead of, I guess, like Dops, which I think are more common in this matchup?
Well, I went 2 TP, and I knew he would be trying to raid me, Ulan Simi and all of that.
Yeah.
So I like pikemen much better for anti-raid because they're faster. And after I caught out his Ulan once, I figured I could do timing and just try to catch everything out. But again, I couldn't coordinate correctly, so it just ended up not working.
Yeah.
Very interesting build, nonetheless. What did you think about the Aztec and Russia game, where you had gotten such a quick age up and gotten the Jaguar Prowl Knights, and you got down the blockhouse like really quickly? What were you thinking in that game?
Yeah, that was the absolute perfect start. I did eat cows, so I was up a bit faster than I think he thought I would be. And so as soon as the Jags came out, and I was able to start sieging the blockhouse, he had to make the choice of sending Minutemen or not. As it worked out, he sent Minutemen and he lost the blockhouse. So just about everything that went wrong did go wrong for him. After that, it was just play a game of Contain pretty much.
Which you did almost perfectly. So very good there. Were there any other games in the series that you thought were particularly interesting? I guess in the Ottoman Mirror, I thought that was a pretty interesting game of note. Any thoughts or comments on that?
I was thinking if I should siege his house or not, and it turned out to be a horrible idea because I was trapped on his side of the map for like half the game. And I didn't know what to do. I wanted to spend my 1,000 coin on Mamluks, but I didn't have a shipment because he destroyed my TP.
Yeah.
So I was just unsure of what to do because I couldn't kill his Jan mess and I couldn't boom either. So yeah, I think the opening was fine for me, but after he cut out my army, there's not much I can do.
Makes sense. Okay, so the chat is asking, Calvin is asking, what about the 3 blind culverins on New England? Was there were you expecting a lot of artillery from Spain there, or what was the reasoning for that?
So I saw he was doing heavy skirm, and
Yeah.
the way to counter that is you do artillery. And I figured he'd be shipping his own 2 Falcons, so I wanted to ship my 2 Falcon and then absolutely obliterate his artillery with my Culverin. The other reason to make 3 of them is if he ships a frigate to the pond, I can basically stamp it right away.
Yeah, makes sense.
Interesting. Were there any times, I think Game 4 might have been the closest game out of the series that could have gone either way, and you just so happened to sneak out the victory. Any time that you felt particularly worried in game number 4, just in general?
The collapse he had was interesting near the pond. I wasn't quite sure how that was going to turn out. Obviously, I have a lot of value in my artillery, and the artillery can't get too much value versus lancers. So, if you can clean up the, if you can force the goons back with the rods and then get the lancers on the skirm and the artillery, then it's going to be a bad fight for me. Thankfully, though, I was in a bunch of trees, so his pathing was completely awful for him.
Yeah, I thought that was pretty good, about as good of engagement as you could have gotten with those trees there. What was your favorite game of the series?
It had to be the New England one.
Okay,
Yeah,
okay.
that was my favorite too. I think it was
Yeah,
very
those
dynamic, lots of great fights.
Yeah, exactly. I think
Yeah.
it's that map is fun because it's always unpredictable what happens.
ships
You
and
have
ponds and everything. I
exactly
think.
ponds.
so
You
fun.
have the ability to add docks and go water, and of course you have the 4 TPs. So
Yeah.
it's a fun map.
So I guess moving
sure.
forward, you're into the round of 8 now, right? So do you? I guess who do you expect to be facing? I think the winner of Soldier and Azad is going to be your next opponent. And are you going to make any kind of specific preparations for your next opponents?
I do prepare for each map, but I'll just have to wait for that series to play out first.
Makes sense. Okay. Well, thank you so much for a very, very exciting series.
Maybe yes.
Kraft was
Gonna-
asking. If Frontline, if you end up playing Soldier, are you planning on playing Ethiopians again, possibly?
Yeah, if the map calls for it, I will. I heard he's a big fan of Ethiopia.
Yeah,
Maybe an Ethiopian mirror first game.
we got to
never
get a
know.
Soldier on board. I mean,
I'm just kidding.
that's the difficulty.
Frontline, do you have any other final remarks for the stream before we end this off?
Just a shout out to Baus. He played really well. It was a very fun series.
Absolutely.
Very very humble competitor you are, Frontline. We are so grateful that you got to play this game. We look forward to seeing you next week, I guess, in the round of 8. Super enjoyable series to cast. I really appreciate all the viewers coming to watch with us. Thank you for all the subscriptions, all the follows. Really means a lot to us at the ESOC team. You have anything else to say, Baron?
No, I mean we're gonna end stream now before the viewer numbers dip too much, or else the higher ups will be getting on our case. So thank you everyone for being here. What a great series! Thank you Frontline, and thank you Only Bows for a very entertaining Friday evening for all of us. And we'll be seeing you for the rest of the weekend for more casts and more great games. We're gonna end stream now and see you all later.
Now, this brings us to our next series, which was Phoenix versus Kevin. Phoenix has come into this tournament a pretty strong contender to win it. I wouldn't say favorite, but he's pretty highly seeded. And look, this one was a 4-0. Kevin did play his heart out. He did try his best, but game 1, Phoenix just took better trades, I think, really capitalized on a strong military advantage and thrust the knife and finish that game, even though it appeared on paper that Kevin was up on eco. Look, I think Phoenix did take better trades there to win that game. For game 2, we had Otto, played by Phoenix, versus Kevin Spain. Now, Otto just did a classic Jan rush here, really just annoyed him, sat under his TC, took villages, and really just put Kevin off his game, ultimately claiming the win. Game 3 was India versus Russia, which Phoenix did win as well, and Brit versus Ottoman for the final game, which Phoenix took out as well. Now, both of these players have declined interviews, but it was a series to watch, even though it was a short one. I do wish Phoenix all the best in the rest of the tournament. Righto, so the next series we had was Ungers versus Tabin. What a series this was. Although the scoreboard did display 4-1 at the end, there was brilliant bits of play from both players. Ungers really showcasing his skill and just experience in the game with this one. So the first one, Ungers beats Tabin's China with Germany. Great game, textbook German play, and great micro in this one. Just proved too much for Tabin's China. He followed this up with another win, Lakota against Botto. Really played this well and got on top of Otto's mass nice and early. Ungas did lose to Tabin's India as Dutch, perhaps diving under an aggro fort, taking a fight a bit too soon. Could have probably won the game had he not done that and not dived too soon. And ultimately did succumb to Mahoots. The next game, which was my favorite of the series, was France versus USA. So this one had it all. It had a frigate pop in the middle, which swayed the fight at the 14-minute mark. We got to see the use of the native mauntlets in combination with multiple CDB pools. And this really does showcase France's might and flexibility. It was a brilliant watch. It was back and forth, but Ungas slowly pulled ahead and pulled away from Tabin to take this game. And, you know, the micro was just phenomenal in this one. And watching these players go, it really makes you look at your fingers and wonder what's wrong with them. Why can't I do that? But this is years of experience, guys, and it really did show. So the last game was Mexico as Ungas, Tabin with Germany. And this one had a brilliant final fight. Although we had a Vil pull from Tabin at the end to try and sway the battle, it wasn't enough to clean the Mexican mass, and Ungas is through to the quarterfinals. And here's what he had to say. Just a little disclaimer before the Ungas interview, I did lose all of my mics recording on this interview, so I had to go back and re-say the questions. So if things don't quite match up, just do take that into consideration, that I've had to try and edit this to make it legible to the viewer. Hey Ungas, how you going, mate? It's lovely to finally meet you. Thank you very much for your time for the interview. Hope you're well.
I'm good. Thanks.
Just starting off, if anybody has gone and watched the VOD, you do see that you two are both in the same clan. Was there any sort of relation there? Do you guys play together often? How does that all work?
Well, we played a lot on Quick Search, and we also played in the same team in one of the EPLs in ESOCs, like the team tournament. But outside from that, not really. We haven't like practiced together or something.
So how did it feel playing Tabin? Was there anything you prepared for in particular? Any homework you did on him? Anything like that?
Well, I knew the civs he was gonna play because on ladder he's been playing Ottomans, USA, and Portugal, and his other two main civs were India and China, and he played all of those except Portugal. So yeah, I think I knew what civs he was gonna play, and I had the option to like choose what matchups I want to play.
Yeah, just walk me through the Dutch and India game. You took a skirm mass, a couple cav, and really lost a couple units under his fort.
Yeah,
That's
so
probably the turning of
I
the
think I
tide there. But yeah,
defended
just walk me through
fine in
how that
H2.
sort of went about. What was your thought process?
Then in H3 I got all my 5 banks up, and I think I just pushed out a bit too early. Like I did I think I made like 10 cav and I went under his fort, and it just wasn't enough against his skirm mass. I think if I just waited a bit more, got a bigger mass, maybe I could win a fight and maybe I could push under the fort. But yeah, if you trade evenly and you have no map control, it's kind of just like downhill, yeah, from that.
Yeah, look, it was a bit unlucky, of course. Obviously, not playing to the level you wanted to, but then moving into our next question was how you actually felt for the rest of the series. Did you feel like you played well, or was there sort of room for improvement? Anything you're sort of going to be working on for the next round?
Yeah, my macro was just dog shit in all of the games. Even on the first one, at the end, I was faulting like 800 wood as Germany, which is not something you usually do. On the New England, at one point, I had like over 3k wood as France. Yeah, all of the games were just kind of chaotic, and not on the level that both of us play usually.
And have you done any sort of looking into your next opponent? Do you know who you'll be facing, and have you done much preparation?
The past the last week, I had like almost no chances to play, and my next opponent is Caterboy, which was seeded like 2 or 3, I believe.
And what about this tournament? Have you had anyone that surprised you? Anybody that you thought has done extremely well that may have exceeded expectations of the community or yourself even?
I'm going in pretty blindly. I don't think I've actually played a single game against him, unless he has some Smurf on quick search. And yeah, I haven't seen like any of his games either. So I'm going in blind, but from what I've heard, he's a pretty standard player. So it's not like playing Opti or someone like who does weird things. And as long as I scout, I think I'm fine.
Yeah, look, I think it's a mixture of a poor performance by Kanisi, but you can't take away anything from Kingu. So that brings us to the end of the interview. Thank you so much for your time, Ungers, and good luck in the next round. Hopefully, see you for a catch up for the semis. Cheers, mate.
I was surprised that Carbone won against Chef on the previous round, I think. Yeah, I was a bit surprised because, yeah, like I knew the guy was decent, but I thought that in a tournament setting, Chef would maybe have the upper hand. And they actually played against each other in the last tournament, and their Chef won 4-2. So yeah, I was surprised by that, but apart from that, nothing really stood out. Maybe Kingu and Kanisi. Kanisi kind of just played really bad.
Righto, boys. Into our next one, we have Ezad versus Soldier. And this one was a little bit one-sided on Ezad's side once he did lose that first game with Hauser against Soldier's Brit. He just went on a run and ran away with it. We went into game 2, Ezad taking Soldier's Auto. We did have some technical difficulties on this one, and unfortunately the VOD isn't available for viewing, but yeah, Ezad did take that one off Soldier. Now, game 3, we had Ezad playing India into Soldier's Aztec. Now, he played a good game here. I think he had some good successful early raids, and he held out, and he had a nice little wall there to sort of stop any connect with his military until his mass was great enough to push out, and this was enough to take the game off Soldier. Into game 4, we have the China Mirror. So Ezad got some really nice treasures early, and he dictated the tempo of the match. And he did this with a better composition. He took fights on his own terms, and ultimately just weaseled Soldier out of the game and took the win here. So Soldier in game 5 played his Germany into Ezad's Japan. Now Ezad went for the Ashigaru mass with a couple Nagi sprinkled in, and there was a bit of back and forth in and out of his base, and ultimately the Ashi mass did come out on top. The Nagi did really well here though. They actually cut off the reinforcing bows because there was 5, 6, 7 of them sort of roaming around the bottom of the battle where the crossbows were reinforcing from. So Soldier put himself in a pretty tough spot at the end there, put himself in a bad spot, which ultimately cost him the game, cost him the series, and Ezad will be through to the quarterfinals. And we have the interview coming up now.
Drop down to team games 2. Oh no.
Oh, no,
Ezad is
go
up
ahead,
here.
Ezad.
All right.
Hello,
up?
hello.
Hello, wait 1 second. Tigre was just joining the channel, so I was chatting. Okay, never mind, sorry. I'm back now.
Ezad, big question.
Yes.
Is it Ezad
Yes.
or is it Ezad?
I think that's the biggest mysterium. But I just say, I don't know, I said it so many times, but still people get it wrong. It's just Ezad.
Ezad. There you go.
Not
Ezad.
EZ, not like long E or long I, or I don't know. It's just Ezad.
You have to blame
Ezad.
Lionheart for this.
Or-
Lionheart keeps saying Ezad, and he's just brainwashing
Yeah.
everybody.
Blame it on Lionheart. There you
Yes,
go.
yes.
That's
There
that's
we
gonna
go.
be the mantra.
Yeah, just call me Ezad. That's fine. Well, tough
So-
series. I wasn't expecting Soldier playing that well. Actually, he performed really well in my opinion. I wasn't sure which Ciffy will pick first. I was just hoping he didn't pick Spain, because Spain Hauser is hopeless. But I just gave it a try, and yeah, he played it really well. Although he lost so many votes, he just had more score the whole game. But yeah, I think he had just composition wise, he outplayed me there quite hard. I think game one.
Yeah. Like one of the comments was that like you went for Songhai, which is not bad at all, but you need to do damage, critical amount of damage, and apparently you did damage, but not early enough to really stop the snowball that British is basically.
Yeah, but
So-
you have to go Songhai, in my opinion.
Songhai,
Because,
yeah,
you
I
have
completely agree. Against Brits, you have to. I completely
you have
agree.
to be aggressive, and yeah, I didn't expect the H up at all.
Yeah,
I was just wondering
that's
because
good.
he was just camping in base, so I could have smelled FF, but I just played full H2 and didn't play in my hands. He countered me quite well. I thought, okay, I just go full Raiders and Fulani because he didn't have any 5 Huss on deck, so I didn't expect any Huss from him. He had only 30 Eagers or something, but yeah.
Yeah, but as soon as he went H3, there was the goons on top of that, then the assaults,
Yeah.
upgraded assaults, and at that point it was really hard for you to contest. Apart from that, like last game, would you say that we have a theory that big treasure, 100-foot treasure that you managed to grab, won the game? Let's be real.
I don't know if it's well. It gave me a lot of tempo. That's true because my first 5 Ashi batch came on right on time when the 2 Ulan arrived my base. So this could have been very game changing.
Yeah,
and I also wait 1 second. And also I went even greedy with 5's Shrine Rating first. Although, yeah, that's why. Yeah, I went greedy because I aged so early with the 100 food, so yeah, that could be a game changer. That's true.
Yeah, I think it also prevented Soldier from aging 16 vil, so he had a 17 vil age up. So the bows were. I think the first 8 bow shipment was not as scary because you already had, as you mentioned, your first Ashy batch out and a second one in queue. So
yeah. But to be honest, I must say I was super lucky the whole series because I had like every game one of the best treasures I could find. So that played me also in my hands, I must say.
The Chinese game, same, excellent H1, I have to say, but what I really loved from your Chinese build order was the switch into Russian consulate. Is that something that you do often in the mirror? Because I found it really smart.
No. That was actually the first time I did it in mirror. But usually, but I had such a great start with food and stuff, so I just tried I just make one Keshik and Step Rider batch because I think I saw the 7 Step Riders from him when he killed my hero, but yeah, that was a little bit spontaneous what I did there, but it worked.
Okay. Because that's what I was gonna say. If your opponent goes pure greed, I'm not sure that's the best. But if your opponent tries to go for a semi with the Raiders, Mongolian cavalry, then suddenly it's insane. So I really liked it right there. Small little detail, but very tasty. I would say adaptation. Right there. I really liked it.
Yeah, I think I just had the better composition in that game all the time. Also with H1, H2, I just had I felt like I was always ahead in the game, and just had to win the main fight. But as I said before, like the treasures were in my hands, so that's why I was ahead a lot.
Indeed.
Well, congratulations, Azad, on your win today, and we'll I guess your next opponent should be Frontline in the round of 8 in the quarterfinals.
Yeah.
Do you have any thoughts about that matchup, and how are you gonna maybe prepare for that?
I'm quite happy that I play Frontline instead of both, because I think I would struggle way more versus both than versus Frontline because of the playstyle. I
Ooh,
think
interesting.
both is. Yeah, it depends on the player. Like both are really strong, but I must say I would struggle more versus both. And I actually I love playing versus Frontline because there can happen anything. He plays every Civ, and so many strats.
Yeah.
And he also thinks every game which strat he's going for, so this could be really, really fun. Therefore, I must say I enjoy more playing versus Frontline than both. But yeah,
Okay.
it will be really fun.
Yeah,
Yeah.
looking forward to that next week. So
Yeah.
yeah, well, congratulations on your win, and I think that'll be it for us today. As we mentioned, we have
Righto, so I'm going to be rounding out the review with the last 3 games, all of them being 4-0 losses. So in the first series, we had Kita Boy versus Carbone. Game 1, taking the French Mirror. Game 2, he was Ottoman playing into Carbone's Dutch. Game 3 was Aztec into Russia. Game 4 was Spain into Japan. Now this one was a mismatch, and look, Carbone did well to actually get this far in the tournament. I did catch up with Carbone last round, and he was surprised he got there. But look, full credit to him. He never stopped going. He never stopped going at Kita Boy and any of his previous opponents. He did surprise himself, so I am sure we will see more of Carbone in tournaments to come. Now, the match after this one was Hazard versus Shake. Now, this is another 4-0 win for Hazard. These two play together a lot, sorry. And Shake did expect to do a little bit better here. He thought that he could have taken a game or 2 off Hazard, but ultimately there's a reason why he's one of the top seeds in the tournament. He played flawlessly. He didn't make any mistakes, but look, full credit to Shake. He got through to the round of 16. He put on a valiant performance, but unfortunately has just a little bit too much quality for this one. Now this leads us into the last one for Optimus and Grogu. Opti just doing Opti things, clean sweeping Grogu. Game 1 being Optimus's Brit into Grogu's India. Game 2, Ottoman into Grogu's Port. Game 3, India into Grogu's Hausa. And Game 4 into China versus Spain. A bit of a tongue twister there. Look, this one, hats off to Grogu. He really did well, and he showed a lot of fighting spirit to help put Brazil on the map in this Age of Empires tournament. Hats off to him. He's done incredible this tournament, and he's been more than willing to help me with these post-match interviews, doing write-ups. So thank you very much for all your time and help with putting these videos together. But ultimately, Optimus will go through the quarterfinals. Righto, as we head into the end of the video, we are gonna have Grime Scene's predictions. Game 1, I've got Hazard taking King of Osmane. Game 2, I've got Ezad winning against Frontline. Game 3, I've got Kita Boy versus Ungers. And Game 4, I got Phoenix taking Optimus. Those are my tips. Let me know your tips in the comments section below. And without further ado, that is the end of our video. Thank you so much for sticking around this long. Another big round of editing, so please drop a like, please drop a comment, let me know what you think, and we'll be giving you a little snippet of my personal play of the week of the tournament. I hope you enjoyed.
quickly closing. His window of opportunity is closing. So he is going to try to push in now. He knows he's getting outscored and outscaled. He needs to take some fight and take some good trades. But these CDB are in the middle of the fight. They can tank a crazy amount of damage. The Lancers going in and getting decimated by the goons. 2 Falconets in the back. Skirms right now just not firing, I think, on the right targets. The Goons trying to get back away from the Skirms and onto the Lancers. The CDB taking a crazy amount of damage on the front line. But the Rods, I think, are getting annihilated by the Falcons and the Skirms. I don't think this Spain is going to come out of this alive. Enough Skirm are alive, enough Dragoons are alive as well, and these Dragoons were just microed incredibly well. I think the Skirm splitting might have, he shot the Lancers a couple times with the Skirms, but those Dragoons were splitting amazingly on the Lancers, taking all of them down, taking down the Spanish mass, and I think this is time for Only Bounce to call it here. He wasn't able to break in, and there we go, that is the game.